Do you keep attracting men only to watch them slowly back off? Or maybe you're a guy who's totally drawn to a Sigma woman but can't seem to break through her walls. There's a reason this happens, and it's not what you think. Let's break down the 8 things Sigma women do that make men feel pushed away, and how to handle it without changing who you are. So first, what is a Sigma woman? She's not trying to impress anyone. She doesn't follow trends. She makes her own. She's confident, independent, and emotionally self-sufficient. She's not loud about it, but she's powerful. And while that's magnetic, it also throws some men off. They say they want a strong woman, but when they meet one, they freeze or flake. Here's why. Sigma women don't rely on anyone to feel whole. They don't chase, they don't cling, and they sure don't beg. But that independence, sometimes it creates distance, even when you don't mean to. Men can misread your calm energy as disinterest, or feel insecure because you don't need them in the way they're used to. That doesn't mean you should shrink. It just means being aware of how your strengths land in relationships. A Sigma female doesn't chase. She's not built for that. She values her time, her energy, and her peace too much to waste it on someone who's unsure. She's not double texting. She's not stalking his Instagram stories. And she's definitely not sitting around waiting for a reply. That kind of behavior doesn't come naturally to her. And honestly, it doesn't make sense to her either. She's not interested in playing cat and mouse. If a man wants to talk to her, he will. If he's interested, he'll show up. And if he doesn't, she moves on. No drama, no second guessing. This isn't about pride, it's about clarity. Sigma females don't operate from desperation. They don't feel the need to prove their worth to anyone. They know they're a catch, and they don't lower themselves to get someone's attention. That kind of energy repels insecure men. Men who are used to being chased, flattered, or constantly reassured feel lost around her. They take her calm detachment as rejection. They don't understand how a woman can be into them and not chase them at the same time. But that's the thing about a Sigma female. She doesn't chase because she's confident. She lets people come to her, and if they don't, she keeps moving forward. No grudges, no overthinking, no begging for time. When she texts, it's intentional. When she responds, it's not out of obligation, it's out of respect. She doesn't play the numbers game or send out 5 messages hoping for one reply. She's not afraid of silence. She actually prefers it over forced conversation. This throws off men who equate constant communication with interest. If a guy needs his phone blowing up to feel wanted, he's going to feel ignored. That's not on her. That's his expectation, not her responsibility. A Sigma female gives space because she needs it herself. She respects boundaries, and she expects that same energy in return. She's not clocking how long it takes him to text back. She's not planning her day around his schedule. She's out here building her life, and if he fits in, great. If not, she's not losing sleep over it. That kind of self-possession makes insecure men uncomfortable. They want to feel needed. They want to feel chased. And when that doesn't happen, they assume she's not interested. But the truth is, a Sigma female shows interest in quiet, solid ways. She listens. She gives you presence. She makes space for you, but she won't chase after you. That's a line she won't cross. Because once a Sigma female starts chasing, she's no longer in her power, and she never trades power for attention. So yeah, insecure men might feel unwanted, but strong men, they get it. They see the value in a woman who chooses them, not chases them. And that's the difference. A Sigma female doesn't chase, not because she's cold, but because she knows chasing isn't love. It's performance, and she's done performing. 2. She doesn't explain herself. A Sigma female makes decisions and stands by them. She doesn't feel the need to give a full speech every time she says no. She's not rude, she's just direct. When she says no, it's final. There's no long follow-up, no maybe later to soften the blow. No fake excuses to make someone else feel better. It's just no, and she means it. That kind of clarity throws people off, especially men who are used to women over-explaining, apologizing, or trying not to hurt feelings. But a Sigma female isn't here to babysit egos. She doesn't need to justify her boundaries. If something doesn't sit right with her, she won't do it. And she's not asking for permission. She knows what she wants, and more importantly, what she doesn't. So when she says no to a second date, a phone call, a late-night visit, or a relationship label she's not ready for, she says it without drama, without guilt, without fluff. This isn't because she's cold, it's because she's clear. She's confident in her decisions, and she doesn't owe anyone a paragraph to back them up. Some men don't know how to handle that. They call it attitude. They say she's difficult or too much. But what they're really saying is, she's not easy to manipulate. And they don't like that. See, a Sigma female isn't interested in being liked by everyone. She's not playing nice to keep the peace. If something doesn't work for her, she cuts it off. And she doesn't need anyone's approval to feel okay about it. That energy, it's rare. And a lot of people, especially men who are used to controlling the narrative, don't know how to respond to it. They expect softness, compliance, a maybe. What they get instead is a hard stop, a calm, clear number. And that's uncomfortable for them. But a Sigma female isn't going to break her own standards to make someone else feel secure. She doesn't need to explain why she's not interested. She doesn't need to outline her schedule. She doesn't need to soften her message just to avoid being misunderstood. She speaks clearly and lets her words stand. That's not attitude. That's self-respect. And if a man feels intimidated by that, he's probably not ready for her anyway. Because the truth is, real men respect boundaries. They don't need everything sugar-coated. They don't call confidence arrogance. They don't ask for endless explanations. They take the answer and move with it. That's the difference. A Sigma female doesn't waste her energy convincing people to accept her choices. She makes them, she owns them, and she moves forward. That kind of presence doesn't just come from experience. It comes from doing the inner work, from learning the hard way that over-explaining never protects you, it only drains you. So she stopped doing it. She doesn't explain herself because she doesn't need to. And that's not attitude, that's real, grounded confidence. Before we hit the next one, if you're a Sigma female who's tired of explaining her boundaries to people who still don't get it, hit that like button. And if this is hitting home so far, drop a comment with, "I'm done shrinking." Now, let's keep it moving. 3. She's locked in on her goals. A Sigma female wakes up with intention. She knows what she's working toward, and she's not waiting on anyone to hand it to her. She's not out here searching for someone to fill in the blanks of her life. Her path isn't paused until a man shows up. She's moving, every day. She's focused on building her own version of success, whether that's her business, her career, her craft, or her peace. She doesn't look around to see who's watching. She's too busy staying in her lane. She's not posting for validation. She's not seeking applause. She's doing the work because it matters to her, not because it impresses anyone. And that's the part a lot of men don't get. They meet her and they think, she's amazing. Imagine if she had me in her life. But what they don't realize is, she's already complete. She's not a half waiting for a whole. She's not sitting around hoping someone will come along and save her. That whole fantasy, she's past it. She doesn't romanticize struggle. She doesn't build her identity around being in a relationship. She builds it from within. So when a man enters her life, he has to come correct. He has to add value. Because she's not slowing down to babysit egos. She's not sacrificing her grind to play the emotional support role for someone who's still figuring himself out. And that's when it happens. Men who can't match her pace start falling behind. They feel it. They see her making moves, sticking to her routine, saying no to distractions, and protecting her energy. They don't know how to keep up. Some try to downplay her ambition. Some try to make her feel guilty for working too much or not making time for them. But she sees through that fast. A Sigma female isn't cold, she just has priorities. And if a man becomes dead weight in her life, she will let go without hesitation. Her vision is too clear to get blurry over someone else's insecurity. She's not looking for permission. She's not explaining why she's grinding. She's not slowing down for comfort. She's moving forward, And either a man walks with her or watches from behind. That's the reality. Her pace isn't for the passive. It's for the grounded, the focused, the self-aware. Men who feel threatened by her drive, they eliminate themselves. And honestly, she prefers it that way. Because she's not here to drag anyone along. She's not here to explain why she has goals. She's not here to convince someone she's worth supporting. If he gets it, he gets it. If he doesn't, she's gone. She's not angry about it. She's just busy. That kind of clarity doesn't come from hype. It comes from experience. It comes from knowing who she is and where she's going. And nothing, not even love, gets to derail that. A Sigma female stays locked in on her goals, not because she's hard, but because she's focused. And she's not changing that for anyone. 4. She doesn't play emotional games. A Sigma female doesn't have time for that. She's not here to play mind tricks or stir up drama just to feel in control. Her communication is real. Her actions are clear. She's not using fake jealousy to get attention. She's not pretending to be mad so someone will chase her. She's not sending cryptic texts just to watch a man squirm. That stuff feels childish to her. It's not clever. It's exhausting. And she's not about it. She doesn't do the silent treatment. If something bothers her, she says it. If she needs space, she asks for it. She doesn't punish people with silence or play guess what I'm thinking. She's not building emotional traps to test loyalty. That's not strength, it's manipulation. And a Sigma female doesn't manipulate. She doesn't twist situations to make someone feel guilty. She doesn't throw out ultimatums disguised as conversations. She doesn't need to control someone's reactions to feel secure. Because her security comes from within, not from how someone responds to her, not from whether a man texts back in 30 seconds or 3 hours. She's stable with or without the constant reassurance. That inner calm, it's what makes her different. And it's also why some men don't know how to handle her. See, some guys are addicted to emotional chaos. They grew up thinking love means conflict. That if a woman isn't making them jealous or blowing up their phone, she doesn't care. So when they meet a Sigma female, it throws them off. She doesn't fight just to reconnect. She doesn't pick arguments to feel desired. She doesn't keep things hot and cold to keep a man hooked. She shows up consistent, steady, director. And for men who are only comfortable in dysfunction, that feels boring. But it's not boring, it's healthy. And only men who are emotionally mature will recognize that. Guys who need drama to feel wanted, they're gone fast. And that's not a loss, it's a win. A Sigma female sees it clearly. If a man pulls away because she refuses to play emotional games, he's showing her exactly why he didn't belong in her life in the first place. She's not going to turn herself into someone dramatic just to keep a man entertained. Her peace is not up for negotiation. If someone confuses peace with distance, that's their issue, not hers. She'll walk away before she starts compromising her emotional clarity. She doesn't need the highs and lows to feel connected. She needs real communication, mutual respect, and emotional maturity. If she doesn't get that, she's out. Quietly, quickly, and without looking back. That doesn't mean she's cold. It means she values her mental space. She's seen what emotional chaos does to people. She's been through it, or watched others go through it, and she chose better. Now she keeps her energy clean. No games, no tests, no mess, just honesty. If a man can handle that, great. If not, he's not for her. Simple as that. A Sigma female doesn't play emotional games, because real women don't need to. Real quick. If you're feeling seen right now, do me a favor, subscribe. Not just for this video, but because we're building a space where Sigma women don't have to dilute themselves to be understood. All right, let's get into the next one. 5. Sending "What are you doing?" texts just to feel connected. Her sense of self isn't tied to being seen or responded to. She actually prefers moments when she can disconnect from everything and everyone. That's not detachment. That's self-awareness. She understands her limits. She knows what drains her. And when she needs to recharge, she pulls back, without apology. She's not afraid to say, "I need space tonight," or "I just want to be with myself right now." She doesn't make it dramatic. She doesn't use it as a power move. She's not trying to make anyone feel left out. She's just honest. And in her world, solitude isn't isolation. It's alignment. It's how she resets her mind, her body, her priorities. Some people don't get that, especially men who link love with constant contact. They expect daily check-ins, good morning texts, phone calls just to prove they still matter. But a Sigma female doesn't operate like that. If she loves you, she'll show it, but she won't smother you, and she sure won't allow herself to be smothered either. That independence, it's not a wall, it's a filter. It keeps out the clingy, the insecure, the ones who mistake availability for affection. A man who constantly needs attention might think she's being cold or distant. He'll ask if something's wrong. He'll wonder why she's acting different. But nothing's wrong. She's just being herself. She values her solitude, and she refuses to give it up just to make someone else feel secure. That makes some men uncomfortable. They don't know how to handle a woman who doesn't need them to feel whole. They start to feel irrelevant, like they don't have a role in her life. And when that insecurity kicks in, they either withdraw or try to cling tighter. Either way, they expose their own fear. But a Sigma female doesn't chase, and she doesn't shrink. She keeps her balance. If a man can't respect her need for space, she knows he's not the right fit, because she's not going to explain over and over that wanting solitude isn't rejection, it's reality. It's how she stays grounded. It's how she protects her peace. And any man who's truly grounded himself will respect that. He won't see her silence as distance. He'll see it as strength. He'll match her energy, not try to control it. A Sigma female values solitude not because she wants to be alone forever, but because she refuses to lose herself in someone else. That's the difference. She doesn't fear being alone. She fears becoming someone she's not just to make a relationship work, and that's why her space will always be sacred. Drop a fire in the comments. 6. She doesn't stroke egos. A Sigma female isn't in the business of handing out compliments just to keep a man's confidence alive. She doesn't dish out fake praise. She doesn't say things just to make someone feel better about himself. She says what she means, and she means what she says. That includes giving respect, but only when it's earned. If she tells a man he's doing great, it's because he actually is. If she tells him she's proud of him, it's because there's something real to back it up. She's not going to hype someone up just because they need constant validation. She's not a personal cheerleader. She's not looking to play therapist, coach, or emotional crutch. She believes in real connection, not performance. And if a man relies on non-stop compliments to feel like he matters, he's going to feel invisible around her. That's not her fault. That's his dependency showing. A Sigma female doesn't center a man's self-worth in her conversations. She assumes he's already done that work on his own. She respects him as an equal, not as someone she needs to constantly lift up. And that's the part some men can't handle. They mistake her lack of flattery for disinterest. But the truth is, she just doesn't overdo it. She's not fake. If she likes something about a man, his mind, his work ethic, his energy, she'll say it. But she's not repeating it every hour just to keep him emotionally upright. She expects him to bring his own confidence to the table. That grounded energy, it's rare, and it unsettles men who are used to being worshipped for doing the bare minimum. Men who expect constant praise just for showing up don't last long in her world, because she sees through that quickly. She knows when someone's fishing for compliments. She knows when someone's self-esteem is on life support, and she doesn't feed it. She's not cruel about it, just clear. She treats a man with dignity. She listens when he speaks. She shows up when it matters. That's respect. That's real. But she's not going to inflate someone's ego just so he doesn't feel small. That's not her job. That's his. And when a man can't handle that, he usually starts to fade. He'll say things like, "You don't appreciate me," or "I never know how you feel." What he really means is, "I need constant approval to feel secure." And that's a problem he has to solve, not her. Because a Sigma female doesn't base her love on ego maintenance. She's deeper than that. She's not impressed by surface charm, looks, or loud confidence. She respects consistency, integrity, substance. That's what she sees. That's what she values. If a man needs shallow praise to feel seen, he won't last with her. Not because she doesn't care, but because she refuses to fake it. She gives real love, real words and real energy, but never for show. A Sigma female doesn't stroke egos. She tells the truth, and if that's not enough, she's not staying. 7 are even sharper, and she's not afraid to trust them. She doesn't need proof in screenshots or receipts to know something's wrong. She can feel it in energy, in tone, in silence. And when she knows, she speaks up. Director. Calm. No yelling, no scenes, just truth. That level of honesty, it's rare, especially in a world where people dodge real conversations and smile through lies. But a Sigma female doesn't do fake. If she respects someone, she's going to be real with them. She'll call out double standards, mixed signals, shady behavior, emotional manipulation, whatever it is. She's not doing it to control anyone. She's doing it to protect her own peace. She won't sit back and pretend like everything's cool just because a man's uncomfortable with confrontation. She's not afraid of tension. She's afraid of wasting time. That's the difference. And honestly, most guys aren't built for it. They say they want a strong, honest woman. But when they meet one, it gets too real. The same guys who say, "Just be honest with me," are the first to get defensive when she is. They'll say she's too intense, too serious, too critical. But she's none of that. She's just clear. She's not attacking. She's observing. She's not judging. She's asking. She's not dramatic. She's done pretending. Some men take her directness as disrespect, but that's their insecurity, not her delivery. She doesn't yell. She doesn't humiliate. She doesn't throw insults. She just tells the truth. And sometimes the truth stings, but it's still the truth. And a Sigma female doesn't run from it. If a man's acting different, she'll ask why. If a conversation feels fake, she'll say so. If something doesn't make sense, she'll push for clarity. She's not doing it to fight. She's doing it to get real. That kind of woman exposes weak spots in people. She forces men to either grow or leave. There's no middle ground. That's why some men run. They're not used to being seen that clearly. They can't hide behind charm or excuses. They can't play dumb and expect her to smile through it. A Sigma female doesn't entertain lies, and she doesn't apologize for calling things out. Because to her, silence in the face of truth is just another form of dishonesty. She doesn't want fake peace. She wants real connection, and that only happens through honesty. So when she speaks, she means it. When she sees something, she says it. And if a man can't handle that, he's free to go. She won't stop being real to keep anyone around. A Sigma female calls things out, not to destroy, but to protect what's real. And that's why she's rare. 8. She's unpredictable, in a calm, controlled way. A Sigma female doesn't live on autopilot. She flows with her energy, her mood, and her focus. One minute she's soft, playful, and open. The next, she's locked in, zoned out, and fully focused on her goals, not because she's unstable, but because she's real. She doesn't fake consistent emotions just to make people comfortable. She doesn't put on a performance. She doesn't smile just because someone expects her to. She's not interested in acting out a role. She shows up how she feels, and her feelings are layered, complex, grounded. She might be warm and affectionate in the morning, then disappear into her work for the rest of the day. She might enjoy deep conversation one night, then need total silence the next. That balance of softness and distance, it keeps men guessing, not in a manipulative way, but in a genuine, unforced way. Men never quite know what version of her they'll get, and that makes her unforgettable. It's not that she's hiding anything, it's that she's multidimensional. She doesn't give everything at once. She reveals herself in layers, and each layer is real. She doesn't follow an emotional script. She's not always on, and that unpredictability comes from depth, not chaos. She's not playing hard to get. She's not using hot and cold behavior to manipulate anyone. She's just being her full self without editing. And for some men, that's a challenge. They want predictable behavior. They want consistency they can control. They want emotional access on demand. But a Sigma female doesn't operate that way. She's not here to be emotionally convenient. She's not one-dimensional. She's full of contrasts, strong and gentle, quiet and intense, warm and distant. It depends on where she is mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. She doesn't fake enthusiasm. She doesn't suppress her intensity. She just moves in a way that feels honest. That kind of realness catches people off guard, especially men who are used to reading women like a script. They can't place her in a box, and when they try, she shifts again. Not to confuse, but because she's fluid, adaptable, evolving. That's what makes her unpredictable. Not recklessness, but rhythm. Not chaos, but control. She's not changing to please anyone. She's just staying true to herself. And that truth has layers. She can be calm in conflict, cold when disrespected, warm when she trusts you, distant when she needs space, soft when she feels safe. A Sigma female isn't one note. She's a whole symphony. And a lot of men don't know how to handle that kind of emotional richness. They either try to tame it or they run from it. But the ones who stay, the ones who are steady enough to hold space for her full range, those are the rare ones. Because it takes a solid man to understand that unpredictability doesn't mean instability. It means she's alive, present, in tune with herself. She doesn't perform emotions, she lives with them, fully, quietly, and without apology. A Sigma female is unpredictable, not to confuse, but because she's never been basic, and never will be. The issue isn't the Sigma female. It never has been. The real problem is that most men aren't used to this type of energy. They're used to women who ask for permission, who shrink themselves just enough to be more approachable, who hold back their truth to keep things light and easy. But a Sigma female doesn't do that. She doesn't dilute her presence for comfort. She walks in fully as herself. No filter, no fake softness, no forced performance. And that unsettles people who rely on control. Especially men who are used to leading with ego instead of presence. Her power doesn't need to shrink to make space for anyone. It doesn't need to bend, twist, or compromise just to make someone stay. What it needs, what it deserves, is to be matched. That means a man who doesn't just admire her strength, but one who can hold it, one who doesn't feel threatened by her independence, one who sees her silence as peace, not distance, one who understands that her solitude isn't rejection, it's restoration. The right man won't feel pushed away. He'll feel challenged, and not in a way that drains him, but in a way that calls him up, in a way that makes him step into his own power more fully. A real man doesn't want a woman who needs him to feel whole. He wants a woman who chooses him from a place of fullness. And that's what a Sigma female brings. These 8 traits we just broke down. They aren't flaws. They're not something to fix. They're not too much. They're exactly what make her different. They're what make her rare. But here's where things shift, knowing the impact of those traits. That's the key. That's where control kicks in. Not control over others, but control over how she moves. Awareness of how she's being perceived doesn't mean she needs to change. It just gives her more clarity on how to navigate. That awareness lets her recognize quickly who's ready and who's not. It keeps her from wasting time. It keeps her from questioning herself, because now she knows. If a man pulls away, it's not always about her energy being too strong. It's about him not being strong enough to meet it. So stay grounded, stay sharp, and never forget, just because someone wants access to you doesn't mean they've earned it. Not every man deserves a front row seat to that kind of presence. Not every man can handle walking next to a woman who knows her worth and doesn't compromise it. Just make sure the one who does get close sees all of you and respects the view. Now, if you're a Sigma female who's had men back away when you were simply being yourself, speak on it in the comments. Say what you've seen. Say what you've learned. What's the one trait from this list that made people misunderstand you the most? Which one hit home for you? Drop it. Let's build this out. Let's make sure more women know they're not alone. Because this conversation isn't about blame. It's about clarity. And we're not stopping here. This was about why men pull away. But the next video, that one breaks down how Sigma females attract true masculine energy. Not the fake alpha, not the wounded ego dressed as confidence. The real kind, the kind that stands next to you without trying to dim you. The kind that holds your fire, not fears it. The kind that moves with purpose, not pressure. So if you're ready for that kind of energy in your life, if you're done lowering your light to make men stay, subscribe and hit that next video. Because what's coming next isn't about changing. It's not about softening. It's not about becoming more likable. It's about owning your full power. It's about standing tall and letting the right ones rise with you.